Fairy tales are actually all lies. When the frog prince puckers up for a kiss, the princess can't bring herself to do it at all. And even if the princess forces herself to kiss him in the end, the frog prince still can't turn back into a human. Tiana is not a princess. She never believed in beautiful fairy tales, even as a child. Yet Charlotte still believes in fairy tales. That's because her father is the richest tycoon in the city. He fulfills every one of her wishes. However, Tiana's mother is just a maid in Charlotte's household, spending every day together. The two girls grow up to become close friends. Late one night, Tiana rides the streetcar home with her mother. Just after getting off, she catches a whiff of a wonderful aroma. It's the delicious gumbo her father has cooked. Her father's dream is to open a restaurant, and Tiana always makes wishes to the stars, hoping her father's dream will come true. But her father, exhausted from overwork, passes away far too early. To fulfill her father's unfulfilled dream, Tiana works several jobs a day. Every night, she's completely worn out. Yet no matter how hard she works and saves, her goal of opening a restaurant still feels far away. But the arrival of Prince Naveen changes her life forever. Naveen's appearance drives all the local girls wild. Among them is Charlotte, who has dreamed of becoming a princess since childhood. To make his daughter's dream come true, Ellie decides to throw a grand ball for the prince. When Charlotte hears the news, she's overjoyed and asks Tiana to prepare some delicious bagnets. She then hands Tiana a large sum of money. With it, Tiana finally has enough to buy her own restaurant. But it also catches the attention of an evil witch doctor. Tiana can hardly wait. She uses the money to buy the restaurant her father once dreamed of, and she vows to give her mother a happy life. The culture and charm of the city completely intoxicate Prince Naveen. His valet, Lawrence, tries to convince him to leave, but Naveen refuses to listen. Suddenly, the evil Facilier appears before him. He claims he can see Naveen's past and future. Naveen is immediately intrigued by his words. Facilier then begins to read his fortune. Though Naveen was born into royalty, all he cared about was partying and enjoying himself. The king has already cut off all his financial support. Now, if Naveen wants to return to his luxurious lifestyle, he must marry a wealthy woman. Lawrence comes from humble origins. He has spent his entire life serving others as a valet. Even if he were to marry someday, he would still be dominated and exploited by his wife. Facilier offers him a fate of wealth and luxury, without the need for any effort. Under Facilier's vivid and seductive persuasion, they lose their reason. They agree to sign a contract with him. Facilier then retrieves a necklace from the underworld. Using it, he begins to drain Naveen's blood. And just like that, Naveen falls into Facilier's evil trap. Meanwhile, Naveen's continued absence makes Charlotte anxious. She begins to cry, and can only keep wishing to the stars. Unexpectedly, the very next moment, Naveen actually appears. Charlotte hurriedly fixes her makeup, and finally dances with the beloved Naveen. Tiana is genuinely happy for her. But the Fenner brothers, real estate agents also attending the ball, bring devastating news. Someone has offered a higher price for the restaurant. They demand that Tiana come up with more money. Tiana's dream, just within reach, shatters in an instant. Charlotte notices the disheveled Tiana, and assumes she simply had a small accident. She takes her to change into a beautiful gown. Dressed in the gown, Tiana looks stunning. Charlotte can't stop praising her beauty, but Tiana has no mood to admire herself at all. While she's lost in worry, a talking frog suddenly appears beside her. It startles Tiana badly. The frog claims that he is Prince Naveen. When he sees the crown on Tiana's head, he assumes she must be a princess. According to fairy tale logic, as long as the frog receives a kiss from a princess, he can turn back into a human. But Tiana refuses to kiss a frog. So Naveen lies, claiming that he is incredibly wealthy. He promises that if Tiana helps him become human again, he will grant her any wish she desires. In order to buy the restaurant, Tiana reluctantly agrees. She closes her eyes and forces herself to kiss him through the disgust. But to her shock, the frog doesn't turn back into a human. Instead, she herself turns into a frog. Panicked and confused, Tiana and Naveen fall off the balcony together. A dog spots them and begins chasing them relentlessly. In the nick of time, they grab onto a bundle of balloons and escape. And all of this is secretly observed by Facilier. It turns out Lawrence and Facilier are working together, using the necklace magic. Lawrence temporarily transforms into Naveen. Facilier plans to have him impersonate Naveen and marry Charlotte. After the wedding, they will kill Charlotte's father. That way, they can seize the entire fortune of Charlotte's family. At the same time, Tiana and Naveen fall into the river. Several alligators immediately surround them in the water. Fortunately, after turning into frogs, they become incredibly agile. In the end, they successfully hide inside a hollow tree. The next day, Tiana builds a small boat, preparing to return to the city. But Naveen lies lazily on the boat, singing the whole time. Suddenly, an alligator charges toward them, yet instead of attacking, it stops in front of them. It turns out the alligator was drawn in by Naveen's beautiful singing. Their shared love of music quickly makes them friends. This alligator, named Louis, adores human music. His greatest dream is to perform on stage with a human band. When Louis learns that Tiana and Naveen were turned into frogs by dark magic, he tells them that deep in the bayou lives Mama Odie, a powerful voodoo priestess. She might be able to turn them back into humans. And so, they begin their journey deeper into the swamp. But even as a frog, Naveen can't shake his playboy habits. Before long, he's already flirting with the Downton butterfly girls. Meanwhile, Lawrence, disguised as Naveen, is growing closer to Charlotte. But as they talk, his ears suddenly begin to change shape. Only then does he realize the blood in the necklace is almost used up. Panicking, he hastily proposes to Charlotte. When Charlotte hears the proposal, she immediately accepts. When Facilier sees that the necklace has run out of blood, he becomes furious. Now, he must capture the real Naveen as soon as possible. Naveen and Tiana meet a firefly named Ray. When Ray learns they're looking for Mama Odie, he immediately tells them they're going the wrong way. The kind-hearted Ray calls for his fellow fireflies, lighting up the darkness to guide them forward. At the same time, to recapture Naveen, Facilier strikes a deal with the underworld. Once he eliminates Charlotte's father, he will rule the town, and then he'll have countless souls to offer the underworld. As a result, the underworld sends out a swarm of spirits to hunt down Naveen. Tiana decides to cook a pot of gumbo for everyone. She asks Naveen to help chop the vegetables, but the pampered Naveen has absolutely no idea how to do it. Left with no choice, Tiana teaches him by hand. After all, Naveen has never had to do anything himself before. Only after his parents cast him out of the palace does he realize how helpless he truly is. After hearing his story, Tiana comforts him, telling him that it's never too late to start learning. They drink gumbo and chat together, unaware that the spirits have already found them and are now closing in through the forest. Under the glow of moonlight and music, Tiana accepts Naveen's invitation to dance. The intimate atmosphere draws them closer, and feelings begin to grow between them. Just as they're about to kiss, Tiana suddenly snaps back to reality. Naveen is still supposed to marry Charlotte. She can't betray her best friend. At that moment, the spirits suddenly appear and seize Naveen. In the critical moment, several beams of light suddenly strike down, destroying the spirits and saving Naveen. Their savior is none other than Mama Odie herself. Odie takes them back to her home. Seeing Odie cooking gumbo, Tiana offers a few suggestions to make it taste better. In return, Odie asks them to state their wishes. Without hesitation, Tiana says she wants to become human again, but Odie isn't satisfied with that answer. She tells them they must think with their hearts to understand what they truly need. Odie hints that what Naveen needs most isn't money. Guided by her words, Naveen quickly realizes what he truly wants, but Tiana still can't grasp the meaning behind Odie's advice. Seeing this, Odie doesn't press further. She tells them that Charlotte's father will be playing the role of king at the wedding tonight. At that moment, Charlotte will briefly become a princess. As long as she kisses Naveen before midnight, the spell on both Naveen and Tiana will be broken, and they'll turn back into humans. To make it back before midnight, Louis helps them climb onto a yacht. Naveen picks up some scattered pearls and fashions them into a simple ring. Staring up at the stars, he practices confessing his love to Tiana. This moment is seen by Ray, who happens to pass by. Naveen tells Ray that he's decided not to marry Charlotte. Instead, he wants to rely on his own efforts to help Tiana open her restaurant. Late that night, he asks Tiana to meet him on the deck. He personally prepares a candlelit dinner for her. Tiana is deeply moved. No one has ever done something like this for her before, but Naveen is so nervous that he can't bring himself to confess his feelings. Tiana gazes toward the restaurant, softly imagining the beautiful future she could have if she owned it. This makes Naveen realize just how important that restaurant is to her. But if Tiana can't come up with more money by tomorrow, she'll lose it forever. And that means Naveen must marry Charlotte to help Tiana buy the restaurant. So Naveen gives up on confessing his love. He decides instead to help Tiana achieve her dream. As Tiana watches Naveen's lonely, defeated figure walk away, a strange feeling stirs quietly in her heart. At that moment, Naveen is captured once again by the pursuing spirits. Tonight is Charlotte's wedding day, but without the necklace, Lawrence doesn't dare to show himself in public. Just as Charlotte storms off in anger, the spirits drag Naveen before Facilier. After the yacht docks, Ray accidentally lets it slip that Naveen was actually planning to propose to Tiana. Only then does Tiana understand that Naveen truly loved her. All this time, she believed Naveen only wanted to marry the wealthy Charlotte. When Tiana rushes into the streets to look for Naveen, she happens to see Lawrence, disguised as Naveen, proposing to Charlotte. Ray senses something is wrong, because Tiana and Naveen should have turned back into humans together. But Tiana, heartbroken, runs away. At that moment, Naveen is locked inside a box. Ray discovers him while passing by. Ray then shapes himself like a key and opens the box. Once free, Naveen immediately charges into the wedding to stop it. Fearing the truth will be exposed, Lawrence grabs him and hides. But Naveen takes the chance to snatch back the necklace. Naveen throws the necklace to Ray. Ray finds Tiana and explains everything to her. Just then, the spirits catch up again. Ray tells Tiana to take the necklace and run, while he stays behind to hold them off. Although Ray's light can restrain the spirits, Facilier arrives and slams him to the ground, then stomps on him mercilessly. In the end, Tiana is caught by the spirits. With nowhere left to run, she tries to threaten them by smashing the necklace. Seeing this, Facilier has no choice but to use magic to turn her back into a human. Then he shows her a vision of the future. Her dream restaurant is built, and it looks absolutely beautiful. But in that vision of happiness, Naveen is nowhere to be seen. Facilier promises that if she hands over the necklace, he will help her fulfill her wish. He even offers to revive her deceased father. But when Tiana hears her father mentioned, she finally understands something. Although her father never fulfilled his dream, he had something far more important than dreams: love and family. That is why he was truly happy. Having figured it all out, Tiana fiercely smashes the necklace against the ground. Facilier immediately casts a spell, turning Tiana back into a frog, and snatches the necklace away. At that moment, Tiana uses her tongue to grab the necklace, then smashes it into pieces. With the necklace destroyed, Facilier's deal with the underworld completely collapses. The underworld claims his life as payment. Lawrence is also taken away by the police. Naveen calmly explains everything to Charlotte. He says he can marry her, but only if she helps Tiana buy the restaurant. Charlotte agrees, but just as she is about to kiss Naveen, Tiana stops them. She tells Naveen, "My dream isn't complete without you." Moved to tears by their sincere love, Charlotte decides to help Naveen become human again. But at that moment, the clock strikes midnight. After 12 o'clock, Charlotte is no longer a princess. No matter how many times she kisses Naveen, he doesn't turn back into a human. Just then, Louis arrives carrying the dying Ray. Even at the very end, Ray is still worried about them. Only when he sees that Naveen and Tiana are together does he finally feel at peace. Ray quietly leaves them. The alligator sheds tears. The sky begins to pour with rain. Everyone holds a grand funeral to honor the brave Ray. Afterward, with the blessings of the animals, Naveen and Tiana officially become husband and wife. As they share a loving kiss, Tiana becomes a princess by marrying Prince Naveen, and the curse is finally broken. In truth, Mama Odie had told them long ago, only by understanding what you truly want can a wish be fulfilled. At the end of the story, Tiana buys the restaurant at its original price. Louis finally has a stage to realize his dream. Naveen's growth earns the approval of his parents. Charlotte still hasn't given up on marrying a prince. She sets her sights on Naveen's younger brother. Even though he's only 6 years old, Charlotte decides she's willing to wait. May we all be like Tiana and Naveen, and on the road to chasing our dreams, meet someone who is willing to walk beside us.